House Republicans announcing they will open an investigation into the origins of COVID this coming January when the GOP takes control of the House. The committee now requesting more than 40 past and present government officials testify about their knowledge related to the origins of COVID and taxpayer dollars funneled to that Wuhan lab, including the testimony of Dr. Anthony Fauci. James Comer is a Kentucky Republican congressman and ranking member of the House Oversight Committee with us now. Congressman, welcome. Who else will we hear from? What's really the objective of this committee?
Well, we're going to hear from everyone in the government that had anything to do with approving tax dollars to go to EcoHealth Alliance, which we know now went to the Wuhan lab to fund gain-of-function research. We also want to hear from any government employee that had anything to do with grant dollars going to the scientists who backed up all of Fauci's claims. And anytime Fauci ordered a shutdown or ordered a mask mandate or vaccine mandate, these scientists got his back. What we've learned from all of our research is in studying the tax dollars, not only did tax dollars go to EcoHealth Alliance to fund gain-of-function research, but tax dollars also went through the NIH to go to many of these scientists that were always getting Dr. Fauci's back and giving him a green light to say or do whatever he wanted.
You know, Congressman, COVID has impacted so many lives, right? People who've lost family members, or they've lost their business because of it, or children who've fallen behind in their studies and education, lives forever changed. What does accountability really look like for where it all stemmed from?
Well, we're starting at the bottom, and I think a lot of people were expecting us to bring Dr. Fauci in on day one. We want to talk to every government employee from the very bottom all the way to the top, and we're starting at the bottom to know the thought process, to explain to us what you were thinking. Because when you look at the EcoHealth grant, not only should they have never gotten a grant to do anything like gain-of-function research, but also they were out of compliance. When the government awards money in the form of grants to these universities and to these companies that are doing research, they're supposed to constantly update the government on the progress of their grant. But the government let them, get away with everything. They were out of compliance with the terms of the grant, and no one from the government spoke up. So we want to know the thought process of why did you do this? Why didn't you follow through on the rules of the game? That's what your job is. And we want to try to learn the thought process of what was really going on here, because it looks to me like this was a mad science project from Dr. Fauci. When you have things going on like what's going on in Congress right now, where Congress doesn't debate the spending bills, and you do that over a decade, it gets to the point to where Congress has no idea where all these tax dollars are going in these big agencies like the National Institute for Health and the CDC. So we're trying to change that. We want to bring these employees in and interview them. If we find wrongdoing, we're going to hold them accountable. But we're putting a case together to where we have, substantial evidence on what we think are many areas of wrongdoing at the hands of Dr. Fauci and Dr. Collins. But that starts at the very bottom, and it's going to take time. We're going to interview all these employees. You're talking about hundreds of hours of testimony from employees just to understand the full picture of what happened, every decision that was made and why it was made.
Yeah, want to get some transparency on it, right? Finally, let me get your reaction to a new report just released on the origins of COVID. This is by the House Intel Committee's minority staff. It just came out this morning. Congressman Brad Wenstrup, writing in part, our report states that COVID-19 may have been tied to China's bioweapons research program and that the IC withheld key information from the American public's authorized elected officials, deepening public mistrust. Is this totally new information, Congressman? What do you make of this reporting in regards to how that compares to the EcoHealth Alliance grant?
Well, this confirms our worst fears that China was actually trying to build a bioweapon. And to think that the American tax dollars were playing a role in that is the ultimate slap in the face of the American taxpayers and a slap in the face to everyone who lost a loved one because of COVID. As you said earlier, COVID has dramatically impacted our lives, mainly in a negative way. Small businesses shut down and were never able to reopen. Children are a year behind in their public education. The supply chain is still disrupted from all the shutdowns. So we need to know the origination of COVID-19. We need to know exactly what was going on in the lab. Another thing that report points out is this is another failure of our intelligence community, because the intelligence community either didn't know what was going on, and they should have in that lab, or they did know and they've covered it up and not been truthful and transparent with the American people. Either way, this is another black eye on our intelligence community.
It's been nearly 3 years, and we still don't have an answer as to where this virus came from. Hopefully, we get some answers in the new year. That's Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Appreciate it, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They
Let me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
For real people.